Okay, so I'm sharing my screen out. We're going to record this session again. So what I want to do is just quickly take a jump back, do a little bit of revision on what we talked about on Monday night of this week, and then we're going to start into some fresh work. So just in this first bit, I just wanted to point out again that I'm on the e-facilitator page, and we're down here at the moment in the week of the 16th of July. Now, again, the three units that we're working on are these three here: participate in OH&S processes. As we discussed on Monday, I suspect, given the experience and background of the people in the group, a lot of students will probably apply for recognition on that unit. We have participate in environmentally sustainable work practices, I should say, and I've got a heap of resources there for you. And the one that we've been putting a lot of work into on Monday is operate application software packages. Now, again, to work through that unit, I am assuming that the vast majority of students are already fairly confident with using word processing and spreadsheets. So I'm really jumping in about halfway through and dealing with some of the more complex issues in more detail. But you need to make sure that if you're having any dramas, you need to let me know about that so we can work on them together. So that's a snapshot of where we are. Now, if you notice here again, I've got it set up with resources. I've got a workbook for OH&S, there's some word processing workbook and a spreadsheet one. On Monday, we started into spreadsheets. Now, the activities for this week, we've been working through this weather records activity, and what I've done is recorded those sessions. So the work from Monday, if I just jump across to this page, these are the lesson notes from Monday the 16th, and you'll see down the bottom down here, as we ran those sessions, excuse me, jumping all over the place, as we ran those sessions, I've recorded videos and I've got them all there under those lesson notes. So you can access and play those through anytime you're ready, as many times as you need to. Now, again, as I typically do, I've recorded them in sections so that you don't have to sit there and listen to a huge, big, long 45-minute lecture. You can go and grab just the one that's relevant to you. So we have a lesson overview on that one, which is exactly the same as what I'm doing at the moment. There's a Excel function. So this is looking at the sum, average, min and maximum functions. And we spent a little bit of time and some shortcuts talking about how you can make sure you error check your work, picking up some of the common things that go wrong and looking at some of the advantages, disadvantages of different methods. Then we had another one where we're looking at charts. So I've recorded a session for you on creating and modifying charts. I'm pretty sure that there will be some new work in there that most of you haven't done before. So I would really encourage you, make sure you watch that one. And down here I've got another one on creating charts. And I have suddenly realised that I think I've actually mislabelled that one. I'm not sure if that is creating charts. So I'm going to go back and double check that one. But that's the content from Monday's lesson. The whole lot's there, so you can go through that and catch up as you need to. Probably one of the critical things is, as we work through this activity, it's really, really important that I'm going to show you a whole range of different skills, in this case about spreadsheets, but I'll be doing that about other skill sets as well. But whatever skill I show you, you need to go and apply that skill to your own particular problems. So here I am showing you about spreadsheets. It's really, really important that you go and take those same skills and embed those into your spreadsheets that you use in your work. Like any of these skills, if you don't go and apply that and practice that skill, then the retention rate will not be very good at all. So you need to make sure you apply that. In actual fact, later on, I'm going to be talking to you about the major project requirements, and one of the major projects for this particular unit that we're on now will be a portfolio of the work that you've done, separate to the ones I've shown you. So in other words, I'll be looking for spreadsheets and word processing documents that you've created through your work that demonstrate similar skills to what I've been showing you in these sessions. So that gives you a little bit of forewarning to expect there. So that's that overview, so pretty much covered that one. Now, I just wanted to quickly draw your attention. Remember, we've got these other units here, participate in OH&S and the sustainability one. Now, when you go to those particular pages, they're set up for you now. I'm still expanding on content and fine-tuning. Remember, with Participate in OH&S processes, we've recently had a new act of legislation come through. It's no longer called OH&S, it's now called WHS, Workplace Health and Safety. So it is a little bit different. So I'm making sure that we go through and we update those resources so it's current for you. Again, we've got a unit guide and you need to do the acknowledgement, don't forget that one. Now, you notice I've got recognition here. This will be the section here where you can go and upload your evidence for recognition. Now, thinking about the sorts of evidence that you'll be going through, you may have done the same unit or a very similar unit in another course. So the evidence that you would upload would be a scan of your transcript that proves to me that you've done that, and you would upload that scan to that location. It may be that as a part of your job role, you've demonstrated those skills. So the evidence you would upload would be, several paragraphs of you describing what you do and how that relates. And if it's going to be a case of you relating back to what you do in your workplace, I am going to need you to provide some collaborating evidence. So perhaps a statement from your line manager that is confirming that that's what you do in your work role. So we need to have this evidentiary approach to what we're doing in assessment. It needs to be evidence-based. So that's where you'll be uploading your resources. In actual fact, you can see I've got a supervisor report upload as well. So anyone wanting to claim recognition, these are the steps that you need to follow. And you'll find them pretty quick and easy. When I get all the evidence, I'll go through it in detail, make sure it's sufficient. If there's a gap that I'm not sure, then I will come back and ask you for more evidence based on that before we make a judgment. Can I just suggest, before you do the recognition, make sure you read through the unit guide, because that's where the critical aspects of evidence are and the performance criteria. So have a read through that so you make sure you've covered off the evidence that you need to. Right, so that's the recognition approach. If I roll down a little bit further down here, I've got the content, and as I say, I'm still growing this content out, but I've got a number of workbooks there for you. So you can go through and have a read through those to refresh your memory. There's more to come. I've also given you the breakup. These are the critical points of evidence, critical elements, and the performance criteria. So you can read through those as well. So again, it's good confirmation. Now, the other option that I will have for you in terms of assessment, there will be a final test for that unit. So if you decide that you don't want to go for recognition, but you think you've got the content under control, you've had a read of the resources, within about a week, by the time, this time next week, I'll have the challenge test there ready to go. And if you're confident that you're under control with the work, you can sit the challenge test and prove it. And then again, it saves you time. It means you can then go and allocate that time to other jobs. So those are your options for that particular unit. So that's the Participate in OH&S processes. So you can have a read through that one. The sustainability unit is this one here. And this is the resource that I've found for you. It's actually very, very good. So they've put a lot of effort into developing this resource. A lot of the little videos and audio clips that are there were actually recorded at another TAFE institute. So it's actually really relevant to what we do here in our institute as well. So go through that one there. Just remember that where it talks about your task, those are practice activities. It's not part of your final assessment. I will have a test that will confirm your understanding of this unit as well. So I'll give you more details about that later on. But you've got some readings there. So for example, if I show you identify resources, that one there, when you go into that section, there's a little video you can watch. There's a heap of resources, more videos to watch. So you've got a lot of content you can refer to. And you'll see here readings. If you go into the readings tab, you'll find that there'll be a learner guide that matches that as well. Now, I'll give you a huge hint. When we prepare the final challenge tests, we do that by directly referring to the unit guide and also to the resources we've provided to you. So by you reading through the unit guide and having a look through these resources here, you should be able to predict what the assessment will be covering. It will be based entirely on this. I don't do trick questions. I always make sure I cover specifically what the unit requires. So that gives you lots and lots of resources that you can refer to for that unit as well. So there's the snapshot of those, gives you plenty of things to be going on with. It also puts the time management very much in your hands, so that if you would like to move ahead and finish some of this work off, you now know how you can do that. So this is going to be the area we'll be working on tonight. So I'm going to stop the recording at this stage, and then I'm going to start another recording, because what I'm going to be doing is working on the next stage of the weather records exercise. And then I'm also going to have a bit of a discussion in a minute to see if anyone has any questions for me as well.